What's up, family? Man, I hope everybody's well. I hope everybody's well. It's your brother King Simon. Oh yeah, I had to shave my head. I like to shed my wool every now and then. I want to speak on something. A friend of mine's told me to go on and speak about something. I'm in GA right now, and if you don't get if it seemed kind of iffy, the Wi-Fi could be a little crazy in these areas, but it is what it is. I'm in GA in Georgia, and I heard what happened in New York City. I think my video paused for a second. I heard what happened in New York City, family. And I've been a disaster preparedness instructor for many years, for over 20 years now, about 20 or more years. And I think people need to acknowledge the 3 P's. The 3 P's is being positively prepared and proclaim. What I mean by that, I left on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning to go to Georgia. So I drove down through one of the buses. And so I got into Georgia around 1 o'clock on Wednesday, but I didn't even pay attention to Ida coming because I thought Ida was in New Orleans in that area. So I didn't know it was going to come across and wreak havoc. It didn't come up Florida, up Georgia way. It came across from that side all the way towards New York. One thing you must do when you're in situations like that is to be positive. Making sure the mindset is positive. Because emergency comes all the time. Emergency comes all the time. And preparation is always important. I always tell people to prepare. Good books to get is a book written by Aton Edwards, Preparedness Now. That's one of my teachers and instructors. And he has another book coming out, about to be released. It's called Afro Prep, Ready Up. That's about to release. And if you do live in certain areas that can be struck by disaster, family, always study and research what are the possible things that can hit your neighborhood, that can hit your city. Whether it's hurricane, floods, tornadoes, always study your terrain. If you're planning on moving in Tornado Alley, then go study it. If you hear that tornadoes come a lot of times or hurricanes come a lot of times in your neighborhood, or micro bursts of tornadoes or micro bursts of flooding, those things you have to prepare for. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. That's the old saying. Prepare for the worst. Don't forget the other half of that. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. That's the other half of that saying. Because we say that in the disaster preparedness community all the time. Prepare for the worst, but hope for the best, or pray for the best. So being positive, being prepared, and proclaiming that you're going to survive, it's very important that you recognize that. And I've learned that over years. So even when I left New York, I prepared my basement office for anything that can be hit. So even one of my relatives told me when they went into my basement, the only thing that was wet was the rug. Everything is at a certain level. All my books is at a certain level, and my books are in plastic containers, plastic sealed containers. So if you have important stuff that you want to protect, make sure, because I've been doing disaster preparedness and disaster awareness for over 20 years now. I've been doing it since 97, 98. But also because I was in the Nation of Islam at one particular time. The Nation of Islam, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, had also a disaster preparedness program. And I'm going to send everybody to a website. It's called readyforanything.org. That's our website, readyforanything.org. Yeah, I was watching Rich when he was talking about the flood, when he was speaking with I'm going to give him a call too, when he was speaking to Aquarius Maximus. So basements are definitely something you have to be very careful of if you live in a basement. I have an office in the basement also. I have a little office with a lot of my books in the basement of the house. So yeah, basements. That's why when you have electrical equipment, you got to make sure that your electrical equipment is at a certain height, or the plugs is at a certain height. My plugs are basically like 6 feet in the air, and then I run different plugs to get to it. So, and I used to teach these classes all the time, but when we recognized that people weren't coming out, we left it alone, because our people are reactionaries. They're not proactive. I'm not about that reactive stuff. I'm proactive. So I already proactively, positively prepared and proclaimed that nothing was going to really happen. Even when my family members called me and said, "Yo, there may have been a flood in your basement," and I was cool. I wasn't upset. I wasn't unhappy. I just said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Okay." And like I said, I already made sure that my books were covered, the expensive books, especially all of my expensive books. I made sure that everything on the bottom had its plastic. Anything that I had, especially if it was books, it was in a plastic container. They can only get damaged if the water got through the plastic, but I made sure I had a plastic container seal. Now, Aton Edwards' website is www.readyforanything. Ready for anything. I'm writing it down. readyforanything.org. That's a good website to go to log on to. Also, you could go to the FEMA website. You could go to the FEMA website in your neighborhood. They give you also advice about flooding in different neighborhoods and all different types of disasters, from electrical outage, civil unrest, all of that, and what to do or how to bunker down when those type of things is. People like myself and Professor Griff teach on bug out bags and emergency kits and emergency kits. I carry an emergency kit with me all the time. I'm always traveling with an emergency kit. I always have my life straws and air purification, whether it's a mask, N95 mask, and different things that I've carried with me all the time, and it don't even weigh that much. It probably don't weigh no more than 3 pounds, because in our system of disaster preparedness, we teach a thing called AI. That's adaptation and improvisation. So we've been teaching that for many years under the tutelage of Aton Edwards, who's more of an urban survivalist, but he can also survive in things like that, the forest and all that. So we taught a lot of that from years. And I used to teach a lot of that from in the nightclubs of Temptation. We used to have classes in nightclubs in Temptation in 97, 98. And we was teaching it at Nicholas. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll find, if you go to my YouTube channel, you could find disaster preparedness lectures that we've done over the years. I have one that I did in Georgia, which gives a lot of information, because it's always good to be informed. It's saying forbidden the website. I don't know why that website is being forbidden, but check out .org or .com. readyforanything.org. That's readyforanything.org. It should be up. So, again, those that have been affected by the hurricane, by the Ida, which is interesting. The name Ida in the Chaldean system, IDA, adds up to a number 5, and 5 is the number of crises, disasters. 5 is also the number of crisis awareness, to be aware of things that's coming. And that's why, because I live in a house that adds up to 5, I always had it in my mind to prep the house, because I'm in a 2-family home. My relatives live upstairs, I live downstairs, but I'm in a 2-family home, And it's so important that you learn to be positive in your preparation, but also proclaiming that you're going to survive this, because it has to stay in your mind. You have to have a mental positive outlook if you want to survive disaster preparedness or disasters when it strikes in any part of the world. Sometimes many of us are at ground zero. Sometimes many of the people that was in the building over there at 9/11 could not survive because they was too high up. Some people got out. Some people survived. Some people got down from whatever floor they had to get down. They got down because you have to have that mental outlook. Although fear is something that's going to take place first, especially during disasters, always learn to harness the fear and use the fear to help give you guidance. Don't get all paranoid and crazy during times of disaster. And especially when it comes to women and children, you got to make sure that the women and children are calm. I know my relatives were very calm because they come from Jamaica, and Jamaica went through a whole lot of hurricanes and earthquakes back in the day. So they come from that era of having food and having candles and having all that. So the relatives upstairs handled it quite well. It's just people around you can get really disturbing if they're not prepared themselves. People can be very disturbed if they're not prepared for disaster. So it's always good to make sure the neighborhood that you're around or people that you're connected to are also aware and thinking positive and prepared and being willing to proclaim that they're going to survive whatever happens, because we survive many things throughout our lifetime. So it is what it is. But I know I wasn't going to come on here long because my battery life is short. I got sessions I'm doing. I'm in GA. I'm going to be speaking at a mental health conference at Tassili's new spot on the 11th and the 12th. And I will be performing live at the Altar Candy on the 26th of September. So 11, 12, I'll be speaking at a mental health conference. 30 minutes I have each day. I'll be vending my books, Numerovation for Mental Stability. And of course, I will be performing. I'll be coming out of retirement only for the Altar Candy family. And then again, I might record some new songs and stuff, because I'm feeling the Afro reggae beat right now. I'm feeling the Afro reggae beat, and I know I can put some stuff on top of it and make it happen. I know I've been practicing. My voice is still on par. I might invite my son to do a few cameos, and I might invite Joshua Sarah to do a cameo. I might invite a few sisters that know how to sing to do a few cameos on my new album that I might more than likely gonna work out. But it's a numerovational album / positive music. That's what I'm working on. Numerovation album / positive music. And I've been feeling the beats of Afro reggae dancehall beats, the mixture of it. And I sent a few beats to Brother Rich that he could remix for me. So Brother Rich, I'm going to give him a call to make sure he's all right, check on him. And everybody pray for everybody that's been affected in any way by Ida. And Ida was just an idling storm that came through. And believe me, because it adds up to the 5 frequency in the Chaldean system. In the Pythagorean system, let's see, 9 and 4 is 13. Plus the A, which is a 1, it's 15. It's 15, 14, 15. Yeah. So no, it's 13, 14. Yes. So again, in the Pythagorean system, 9 plus 4 is 13, plus the 1 is 14. That's a 5. Again, that deals with disaster, the need to learn how to be flexible and adaptable. And more than likely, this hurricane was unassuming. It was unassuming coming up through there. They thought it was going to dissipate. And sure enough, it did not dissipate. It was unassuming. And that's why the 5 is one of those numbers that deal with drastic movement, drastic change, unexpected movement, unexpected change. So Ida, the name Ida adds up to that. So, of course, it brought that with it. That's how Ida worked. All right. So, and it will bring disaster, because the word disaster in the Pythagorean and the Chaldean system actually breaks down to the number 5. I can't make this stuff up, family. The word disaster breaks down to the number 5. And if you go into people like Lloyd's book or my book, or especially Lloyd's book, he talk about people born under the 5, the 14th, or the 23rd. Because they're so adaptable and versatile, they're able to deal with crisis and adapt to crisis real quick. And my teacher, born under the sign of Gemini, he is a disaster preparedness expert, and Gemini is connected to the number 5 Mercury energy. Fast moving. That Mercury energy is fast moving, swift. Comes and go quick. So again, family, if you are preparing for disasters for yourself, I'm not really doing any numerology at this time. That site is saying don't have permission to access. Okay, maybe you got to join it and all that. I got to find out from Aton what is it. But in the meantime, in between time, go to FEMA.org. FEMA.org, Federal Emergency Management Agency. Go to FEMA.org. Go to their disaster preparedness segment and go study anything on how to prepare yourself with food and ration that you might need. Also, you can go to a CERT.org. CERT is Civilian Emergency Response Team. That's Civilian Emergency Response Team. You see how I can spit it out? Because I trained this for years, and I stopped doing classes because people were reactive and not proactive. See, people react when disasters hit, but I look for people that are proactive, so I stopped doing classes, period, because people wasn't serious. I used to do a lot of classes at Nicholas. You could ask Monique. I used to do a lot of classes at the Marcus Garvey Center over there in Brooklyn. I've done classes at Temptation, but again, these classes started coming through because of certain things that happened, and people were only reactive and not proactive. And I don't like dealing with people that are reactive. Reactive people will destroy and cause havoc because they react to every little thing. That's why you don't see me reacting to a lot of madness that's going on right now in the so-called conscious community. I'm proactive. I know exactly how to mathematically move and deal with it because I keep my eyes on the prize, but I got to look into the future with the numbers and so when I'm going to do what I got to do and make it happen. So look out for some conversation. You're going to hear me talking a lot about certain things this month because this is one of those months that I have to find order, structure, but also conversation has to be in order and structure also. All right. So people, have a great day, afternoon, or evening. Remember, if you can't, in that link, www.readyforanything.org. If you can't get on that, I'm going to check with Aton and see what's up with that website. But in the meantime, go to FEMA.org. That's FEMA.org. That's the Federal Emergency Management Agency.org. Because they got very good, pertinent information to give you guidance during times of flood, during times of every form of disaster. FEMA.org. That's FEMA.org. Or look for a CERT team, SCERT, CERT team in your neighborhood. CERT teams are the ones that are what we call Civilians Emergency Response Team. That's Civilians Emergency Response Team. That's Civilians Emergency Response Team. Send me your link. What link are you looking for? I'm not sending out any link. I'm just showing you where to go. FEMA.org or readyforanything.org. I don't need to send out any link. I'm saying what I have to say. All you have to do is write it down or remember it. FEMA, FEMA.org. CERT teams. Find out the local CERT teams in your neighborhood. CERT teams in your neighborhood so you can join a civilian emergency response team. Even Red Cross is good. Go to the Red Cross. Red Cross can help you also. Red Cross has a disaster preparedness program with CPR and everything in it. And again, readyforanything.org. I'm going to check with my teacher what's going on with that website. I'm going to check the website also myself. But family, be safe out there. And again, study your terrain, study your neighborhood, know where you're at. Get ready to walk back inside the house. I just wanted to be in this sun, sucking some sun, getting this vitamin D. I'm in Georgia, and I will talk to y'all another time. Be safe, be strong, be focused, and take care. Always be positive, prepare, and proclaim that you will survive whatever disaster comes in your life. Peace.